Good morning. My name is Michael Leizerman. It is Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. The trial guide's tip of the day is from William and Robert Bailey's Show the Story, The Power of Visual Advocacy. Showing the standards helps the jury to understand how a reasonable doctor should care for his or her patient in an emergency situation. So, relatively short sentence, but a lot there. Showing the standards, reasonable doctor or reasonable person if it's not a medical case, right? An interesting, I always try when I can. It's interesting to think of when to focus on the individual case. If you want to show someone's an outlier, you know, um, the doctor for her patient, and when to make the standards plural. I often like to do that. I most of the time would do that. You know, how do reasonable doctors care for their patients? First of all, then you avoid the awkward his or her, and also it makes it larger than just this one instance, right? But showing the standards, that's really what they're talking about here. Let's get a little zoom. There we go. Because we know that we have to reference the standards. That's what the case is all about. Showing the standards is something different, and that's what the Bailey brothers do so amazingly well. If you haven't heard them speak, do so. If you don't have their book, get it. We can talk about, well, a reasonable doctor would do this, a reasonable truck company or truck driver would do this, or whoever the wrongdoer is. And that's a lot different than showing it. And you can do that in many ways, right? Of course, you can put up words, and sometimes you need to do that. Here's the rule from such and such book of standards. And sometimes there's images. It might be comparing a strip that reads the heart, an EKG, a strip that reads the electrical impulses of the brain, or a logbook for a truck driver. Whenever we can, and we want to show deviant behavior, wrongdoer behavior, compared to reasonable behavior, it's great to show that, and when possible, to compare it. That's the power. Like if there's a brain damage case and showing here's a normal brain, here's the fMRI or the DET or whatever you're using, here's the brain damaged brain. This one is all blue, this one is half red. Whatever it turns out, that there's something, and that's maybe a little beyond the standards, right? But you get the point. What's the standard, and not how can you just say it, how can you source it, and how can you show it? Here's the standard, show it, and ideally show why the standard makes sense. So yeah, go get the Bailey's book. How you doing today? Let's take a deep breath and let's take a moment to be grateful to be alive today. May we act as lawyers today, as human beings, but especially as lawyers. May we use the powers we have to reduce suffering in the world, to do good things, to accomplish justice. For those of you who might wonder, I gave a little teaser yesterday saying I was waiting for a ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court, and hooray for my client, young man who's quadriplegic. The Supreme Court denied cert on our case, and he will now have his day in court. So very pleased with how that turned out, in case you were wondering. I'm going to now ring a bell 3 times. That can take you into a meditation practice. That's where it came from for a couple years. Actually, during COVID, I was leading a morning meditation. Started with 3 bells. That's now turned into the trial guide's tip of the day. And so I continue that for those who might be tuning in and want to now sit in silent meditation. It could also take you into a prayer practice, or it could just remind you it's Tuesday, wake up, do good things in the world, and have fun.